Usually we have a lot of fun on this channel. We talk about some fun topics on here. We talk about NASCAR races, controversies on track, whether it's a crash, a fight in pit road, whatever it may be. We talk about fun stuff off the track. We talk about free agency. Where's Kyle Busch going to go? Is a new manufacturer coming in? All this fun stuff. Today's video is not going to be fun. The news that has come out today, multiple topics of news that have come out today, brutally honest, is not fun. NASCAR has been in quite the storm the past couple of months, and it's not a good storm. With everything that has happened on and off the track, it seems like. More on the track. But we have angry comments from Tony Stewart about NASCAR. We have Alex Bowman out for longer. And we have something that we might have been dreading that unfortunately may come true. Let's talk about that one first. This Saturday at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, Kurt Busch will have a media availability. Kurt Busch, of course, has been out since his July crash at Pocono. It was a qualifying crash, simple crash, looked innocent, nothing too bad. Well, it turns out he got a concussion, and he has been out ever since then. It's been more than 2 months. Kurt Busch is on the tail end of his career. Kurt Busch, he's had a great career. He's a champion. He's had tons of wins. The second half of his career off the track has really been a resurgence. It's been a completely different person, and Kurt Busch went from being one of the most hated drivers to one of the most loved drivers. And many are fearing that this announcement on Saturday morning is going to be his retirement. Of course, Kurt Busch, he's a Las Vegas native. This weekend, the race is at Las Vegas. So people are fearing the worst, that Kurt Busch is going to announce his retirement on Saturday morning. That announcement will be 8 o'clock Las Vegas time, 10 o'clock Central time, 11 o'clock Eastern time. With all the rumors and reports this week that Tyler Reddick's contract is getting bought out by RCR and he's moving over to 2311 a year early, that makes our fears even worse. And the fact that, I'm not going to talk about that. The Kurt Busch video on Saturday, if it truly is his retirement, I will talk about it on Saturday and I will give you all my thoughts then. Yeah, I really hope it's not him retiring. Fortunately, it might be, but man, yeah. Speaking of injuries, speaking of concussions, Alex Bowman at Texas just a few weeks ago. Almost the same thing as Kurt Busch, just an innocent crash. Backed into the wall a little bit. Didn't seem too severe. He got a concussion in that race, and he has been out ever since. He will be out 3 more weeks. His statement said, "As much as I hope to be back in the Ally number 48 Chevrolet this weekend, I will not be returning to competition for the next 3 NASCAR Cup Series races. I'm continuing to focus my efforts on getting my health back to 100% so that I can return to racing as soon as possible. I know that Noah will continue to do a great job representing the number 48, and I'll be cheering him and the entire Ally Racing team on every lap. Thank you again to everyone for the support I've received. It means so much to me." Alex Bowman. So Bowman is theoretically out, and he'll be back for Phoenix. I know that he's probably going to want to race in his home race, but brutally honest, sit out the rest of the season. There's 4 races left. There's no point in getting in a dumb accident at Phoenix and being out a few more months, potentially part of next year. Rest up, get healthy, come back and fight for a championship next year. I love Alex Bowman. I think he's a great driver. He has shown he knows how to win. He's shown he knows how to race. He's done a pretty good job at Hendrick Motorsports. 7 or 8 wins since he's been there. His whole story, that's another great story in NASCAR. His going from Tommy Baldwin Racing to Hendrick Motorsports reserve driver to replacing Dale Earnhardt Jr. To taking over the number 48 car, the iconic number 48. His career path has been quite the story. So, Alex Bowman, I hope he is all right. I hope he gets fully healed, but brutally honest, he should sit out the rest of the season, focus on 2023, getting healthy for then, and coming back next year to fight for a championship. So those are 2 big pieces of news today, that Bowman will be out until Phoenix as of now. Gregson will be in the car for those races. And then, of course, Kurt Busch has an announcement on Saturday morning. Yeah. NASCAR, they did announce, or they are making the plans to change the rear of the car so that the car will absorb more of the impact than the drivers themselves. That has been the problem. Drivers, they back into the wall and they take most of the hit. Well, really all the car, but the rear being the two that caused the concussions. And, he backed into the wall and he got a concussion. Kurt Busch backed into the wall and got a concussion. So they have been focusing mainly on the rear of the car, getting that fixed up so that it would give a little bit more, take more of the impact so the drivers would not take these hits and, get hurt, get concussions. They laid out a plan, told the drivers about it. It's probably not going to get implemented, or it's not going to get implemented till 2023. But NASCAR is willing to cover all the costs of the changes because, of course, the teams have to buy these parts and they have to buy the cars, the new cars from independent suppliers, all that stuff. But NASCAR, because, they are kind of at fault for this and it has caused injury to the drivers, they're going to cover the costs. And it's a sucky situation, but on NASCAR's end, that's a good move. If they made the teams cover the cost for that, that would be an ugly look. Now let's talk about Tony Stewart Rampage. Tony Stewart, as you are all aware, has had some iconic sound bites in his time in NASCAR and interviews. Of course, the post-Talladega one being one of the most iconic, not just by him, but in NASCAR history, where he said, "We didn't wreck enough cars today. We ought to do the first half of the race normal, the second half of the race, half the cars go one way, half the cars go the other. And then for the last third, let's just do a figure eight. Screw it, because we didn't crash enough cars at Talladega." And today, he's pretty mad once again, and I cannot exactly blame him. AP, they wrote an article that was posted on Yahoo News, and Tony Stewart, he was at Texas Motor Speedway recently promoting, I think it was a Speedway Charities thing, but he also has an NHRA drag race team that is competing somewhere in Texas. I think it's at Ennis, Texas. But yeah, they were asking him, what do you think of Cole Custer's penalty? What do you think of Kevin Harvick's penalty? Your team is $300,000 down in the last couple of weeks from penalties, and, what are your thoughts? Here's some of the quotes from Tony Stewart himself. "I'm not going to talk about it. I'm so mad at NASCAR right now, I'm not talking about it." They kept on asking about the penalties, more stuff. Then they were asking him about the NHRA. He said, "Super glad I'm doing drag racing this weekend. If it weren't for the fact that I've got a couple of appearances that I have to make, I wouldn't be in another NASCAR race the rest of the year. Wouldn't waste my time." Ouch. Then he was asked about, is he still having fun at NHRA? He said, "Love it. The atmosphere is way different. And I like the atmosphere there. I have all year." Then they asked him about Cole Custer, all that stuff, and they put in a quote from Scott Miller, all that stuff. And of course, yesterday after the penalty was posted, Tony Stewart had a tweet about, he didn't directly address the penalty, but he did, it was pretty obvious what he was tweeting about. He said, "Looking for a new hobby, a new weekend hobby, something not Southeastern based." Gee, I wonder who that's targeting. "If anyone has any ideas, something low drama and relaxing preferably." Yeah, Tony Stewart's pretty pissed off. I cannot exactly blame him. Obviously, the situation his team is in. A L2 penalty for Kevin Harvick for the the deck lid on the car. The penalty for Cole Custer for the race manipulation. And, of course, Chase Briscoe, at least he's still in the round of 8. But, Tony Stewart has a lot to be mad at. Him and NASCAR have not always gotten along. They've had their issues in the past. But Tony Stewart's always been very outspoken. He's always spoke his mind, which is honestly something I respect about him. He always says what he wants to. And it's not like he's always saying negative stuff. He just is giving his opinion. He wants to tell you how he feels about certain things, and that's what he's doing right now. He's telling you how he feels. He's not happy with NASCAR right now. He's not happy about these penalties. He thinks it's BS, I guess. So as a team owner, I'm sure, I'm not a team owner, but I can, from an outsider's perspective, I can understand why he's mad. He's been fined. His team has been fined $300,000. They've had a car docked 100 points, and they're not appealing it now. They were, but they removed the appeal. And they got another car that's being docked 50 points, and a crew chief is being indefinitely suspended. So that's 2 major penalties in the span of a week. One of them for a new next-gen thing, and the other one for race manipulation when NASCAR has been a little bit inconsistent on those calls the past few years. So Tony Stewart, I think he has a right to be mad. I think, obviously he has a right to an opinion. He can speak his mind, but I think he has a right to be mad, as a team owner. And, obviously he's going to protect his team. He's going to back his team as long as they're there, as long as he's the owner. But Tony Stewart seems pretty fed up with NASCAR as a whole right now. And the fact that he's saying he doesn't even want to go to the track, I think that's saying something even bigger. So, of course, there's been those reports about, the new TV deal and, how much money are the teams going to get. The teams aren't exactly happy with how that talk is going. Tony Stewart obviously in on that as a team owner, but you got some big brains in there for that. Obviously Tony Stewart's a team owner. Jeff Gordon, he's the co-owner of the 48. He's also the vice chairman at Hendrick Motorsports. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is an Xfinity Series owner. He works for NBC, so he works for a television network. So those 3 are very big minds who know a lot about NASCAR, have raced or been in NASCAR for decades. Those 3 guys, I'm sure there's more that I'm forgetting, are going to be crucial, I think, in the future of NASCAR, whether it's the TV deal, whether it's the way NASCAR handles things, whether it's how things are looked at. But, yeah, Tony Stewart's pretty mad. So let me know your thoughts. As I said, not really a fun video today, but it is a lot of news. I really hope Kurt Busch, it's not what I'm thinking. Obviously it'd be disappointing, but at the same time, you got to respect the decision that Kurt Busch has, looking out for his health. But it's just, oh man, it sucks that because the car was not safe and that it gave him a concussion and it hurt him. It sucks that we may have to go through this, that a concussion, an injury may end the career of a driver in 2022. It just sucks. It's nothing against Kurt Busch, obviously. As I said, respect his decision if that is indeed his decision, and whatever it may be. But it just sucks that we have to sit through this. I'll talk about it more on Saturday if that is indeed the announcement. Same thing goes for Alex Bowman. It sucks that we have to sit through this and see 2 guys on the sideline, 2 guys who qualified for the playoffs, get eliminated because of a concussion because the car is not 100% safe. We'll talk more about it on Saturday. I'm going to keep rambling on if we keep on talking about this. And as for Tony Stewart, he's mad. He's very mad. So, I don't know. I don't know anymore. It's been so much negativity. The first half of the season, it was such a fun season. We had great racing. We had a lot of fun. Lots of different winners. But it just seems like since that Kurt Busch injury, there's been a lot of controversy, a lot of negativity. And there's still been good racing, don't get me wrong, but it just sucks that it's had to happen. From the injuries to Bowman and Kurt Busch, to the penalties with the next-gen car, to, the whole Custer manipulation thing, to, oh God, I don't even know what else. I feel like I forgot it all. But the playoff system, I could give a rant on that any day. Anyways, I'm going to cut the video off there. I could genuinely rant about all those topics super long. It may turn into a rant on Saturday, so prepare for that. But, yeah, sucks I had to make this video, but that is the case. Las Vegas this weekend. It was a great race in the spring. I was there for it. It was amazing. So everyone that's at the track this weekend, I hope you have a great time. It's a great track. The racing was great there in the spring. I hope we have another great race. But, yeah. I'll see you in the next video. Like, subscribe, share, all that, and we'll see you Saturday at latest.